All right, today we're going to talk about something that might just blow your mind because it's about where everything in the universe is heading. I'm not talking about tomorrow or next year or even in a million years. I'm talking about what's happening on the largest scale possible and how it affects all of us right now. You might not think it matters, but trust me, once you understand what's going on, you'll realize how big of a deal this is. So here's the deal: everything in the universe is in motion, and not just in some random way. Everything is moving towards something. But what? And why? You see, back in the 1970s, astronomers discovered that our galaxy, the Milky Way, isn't just floating around doing nothing, it's being pulled. Pulled by what? At first, no one had a clue. Imagine that scientists staring at their data, scratching their heads, because something was yanking our entire galaxy in a direction they couldn't even see. They called it the Great Attractor, and it sounds cool, like something out of a sci-fi movie, but it's real, and it's massive. The thing is, no one knew what it was because it's hidden behind something called the Zone of Avoidance. The dust and gas in our own galaxy block our view, but we know it's there. So, what's going on? Here's the kicker: it's not just our galaxy. It's everything around us. All the galaxies nearby are moving toward this same point. It's like we're all caught up in this invisible current, being dragged towards something we can't fully understand yet.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
Now, here's where it gets even weirder. It's not just about the Great Attractor, because as astronomers kept looking deeper into the universe, they realized that the Great Attractor is just a piece of something way bigger. And I'm talking way bigger. The universe itself is expanding, but on top of that expansion, there are these massive structures, clusters of galaxies, superclusters, even bigger things we don't have proper names for yet, and they're all moving. And where are they going? They're all part of this gigantic flow, like rivers and streams of galaxies, being pulled towards something even larger than the Great Attractor. Now stop for a second and think about this. We live on a planet that's spinning around the sun at 30 kilometers per second. That's fast, but even that's nothing compared to what's happening on the galactic scale. The Milky Way is moving at hundreds of kilometers per second toward the Great Attractor, which itself is moving. And that's not even the biggest thing we're headed for, because even the Great Attractor is being pulled towards something else, something even farther away. So ask yourself, what does this mean for us? What happens when we get there? But hold on, before we get too deep, let's think about what this means for you right now. You're sitting here, watching this video, living your life. You've got bills to pay, people to take care of, things to do. Why should you care about where the galaxy is going? Well, let me tell you why. Think about how everything in life is about movement. Even at the tiniest level, your atoms are buzzing around, constantly in motion. We're all part of this massive cosmic dance, from the very small to the incredibly large. And the more we learn about the universe, the more we realize that nothing stays still. Not you, not me, not the stars in the sky. Everything is in motion, always. And that's important, because it means nothing lasts forever. And here's where it starts to get personal. If everything is moving, if the universe itself is constantly changing, then what does that mean for the things that we hold on to? Are we just passengers, moving along with the flow? Or do we have some control? Can we protect ourselves from the forces that are pulling us toward who knows what? Now that we've laid out the basics of this cosmic motion, where everything is going, let's focus on one event that's going to change everything for us. I'm talking about the Andromeda Galaxy. You might have heard the name before, but what you probably don't know is that Andromeda is on a collision course with us. Yup, our galaxy and Andromeda are set to collide. And it's not some far-off theory, it's a fact. Andromeda is the closest major galaxy to us, and it's moving toward the Milky Way at an insane speed, about 100 kilometers per second. That might sound like a lot, but because space is so big, the actual collision won't happen for another few billion years. But here's the crazy part: when it does happen, it's going to completely change the night sky. Right now, if you look up, Andromeda is just a small smudge in the sky. But over time, it's going to get bigger and bigger until it dominates the entire night sky. Imagine that, looking up and seeing another galaxy as big as the moon getting closer and closer. Now, you might think, well, that's billions of years away, why should I care? But here's why it matters: because it shows us that the universe is not a stable place. It's constantly evolving, constantly shifting. And even though we won't be around to see the big collision, the stars, the planets, and everything in our galaxy will be affected. The gravitational forces between the two galaxies will stretch and warp everything. New stars will be born. Others will be flung out into the void of space, and the Milky Way, as we know it, will be gone. So what does that mean for you? Well, it puts things in perspective. The universe is always on the move, and we're just a small part of it. Sometimes we get so caught up in the day-to-day grind that we forget how connected we are to everything else. But when you zoom out and look at the bigger picture, you start to realize how fragile everything is. And that's not just true of galaxies, it's true of life. Think about your own life. How many things have you held on to, thinking they would last forever, only to see them change or disappear? Relationships, jobs, friendships, even your own sense of who you are, nothing stays the same. And that's okay. Because just like the universe, we're meant to move forward, to evolve, to change. The question is, are you ready for it? Are you prepared to embrace the chaos, the uncertainty, the unknown? And this brings us to a super deep question. If everything is in motion, if nothing lasts forever, what are you holding on to that's holding you back? What's keeping you from moving forward? Because just like the Milky Way is on a collision course with Andromeda, you're on a collision course with your future. And the choices you make today are going to shape what happens when that moment comes. Now, let's take this one step further. We've talked about the Great Attractor, we've talked about Andromeda, but what's beyond all that? Where is everything in the universe really going? Here's the thing: as we look farther and farther into space, we realize that the Great Attractor isn't the end of the story. There's something even bigger out there, something beyond the Great Attractor that's pulling everything toward it. Astronomers call it the Shapley Supercluster, and it's one of the largest structures in the universe. It's so massive that even the Great Attractor is being pulled toward it. But here's where things get really interesting. We're not just being pulled by the Shapley Supercluster, we're also being pushed. That's right, there's something on the opposite side of the universe that's pushing us away. It's called the dipole repeller, and it's this massive void, this giant empty space, that's actually repelling galaxies. So we've got these two forces, one pulling, one pushing, and we're caught in the middle. Now, what does that mean for us? It means that the universe is a place of constant tension, of forces pulling and pushing us in different directions. And that's not just true on a cosmic scale, it's true in your life too. Every day you're being pulled and pushed by different forces. Your job, your relationships, your dreams, your fears, they're all acting on you, shaping the direction you're moving in. But here's the wisdom in all this: just like the universe, you can't control everything. You can't control the forces that are pulling you towards something or the ones pushing you away. But you can control how you respond to them. You can choose to move with the flow, to adapt, to evolve. Or you can fight it, hold on to the way things are, and get dragged along anyway. So, here's the final question: where are you going? Not just in the universe, but in your life. What forces are pulling you toward your future, and what's pushing you away from it? And most importantly, are you ready to face whatever comes next? Because just like the galaxies, you're moving whether you realize it or not. And the only thing that's certain is that change is coming. All right, let's keep going. We've talked about the Great Attractor, Andromeda, and the cosmic forces pushing and pulling everything in the universe, including you. But now, let's talk about something even bigger, something that's already affecting your life every day, and you might not even realize it. Change. Yep, that's right. Change is the one constant in the universe, and it's the one thing we all try to resist. But here's the truth: you can't escape it. Just like the galaxies are being pulled toward the unknown, you're constantly being pulled toward your own future. And it's scary, right? We don't like the idea of not knowing what's coming next. We get comfortable. We cling to the things we know, the things that feel safe. But the universe doesn't care about comfort. It's always moving, always evolving, and so are you. Think about it: every second you're alive, your body is changing. Cells are dying and being replaced. Your thoughts are evolving. The people around you are changing too. And no matter how much you might want to hold on to the way things are, it's impossible. Just like galaxies, we're all part of something bigger. So, the real question is, how do you deal with it? Here's a practical piece of advice that might sound counterintuitive: stop resisting change. Embrace it. Seriously, fighting against the inevitable is like trying to swim against a cosmic current. It's not going to work, and you're just going to exhaust yourself in the process. Instead, learn to flow with the changes in your life. Imagine life as a massive river. Sometimes the current is strong, sometimes it's calm. You can't control the river, but you can learn to navigate it. You can decide how you respond to the twists and turns. But here's where things get deep. What if the changes in your life aren't just random? What if, like the galaxies being pulled toward the Great Attractor, there's a force guiding you towards something bigger than you can see right now? What if every challenge, every loss, every unexpected moment is just part of a larger plan that you're not fully aware of yet? Now, I know that sounds like a cliche, everything happens for a reason and all that, but think about it on a cosmic scale. Even the most chaotic events in the universe, star collisions, supernovae, black holes, they all lead to something. They create new stars, new galaxies, new possibilities. So, what if the chaos in your life is doing the same thing? What if the things that feel like they're tearing you apart are actually setting the stage for something incredible? Let's get real for a second. You've probably faced moments in your life where everything felt out of control, right? Maybe you lost a job, or a relationship ended, or you had to make a life-changing decision. In those moments, it's easy to feel like you're drifting, like you have no control, like the universe is just throwing you around. But what if those moments are the exact ones that push you towards something better? What if they're the gravitational forces you need to pull you toward your own great attractor? Here's the thing, we don't always see the bigger picture. But just because we can't see it doesn't mean it's not there. Everything is connected. Just like the galaxies are connected by unseen forces, your life is connected to everything around you. The people you meet, the choices you make, even the things that seem random, they're all part of the same flow. And the more you embrace that, the more you can start to move with the current instead of fighting against it. Now, let's get practical again. How do you actually do that? How do you stop resisting change and start moving with it? First, you need to let go of control. I know, easier said than done, right? But think about it, how much of your life are you really in control of? You can't control other people. You can't control the future. You can't even control what's going to happen 5 minutes from now. Once you accept that, it's freeing. Because if you're not in control, then you can stop wasting energy trying to force things to go your way. Second, you need to trust the process. This is key. Just like the universe has its own flow, your life does too. And sometimes, the things that seem like setbacks are actually setting you up for something better. So, instead of freaking out when things don't go as planned, ask yourself, what's the opportunity here? What can I learn from this? And finally, be adaptable. Just like galaxies evolve over time, you need to be willing to evolve too. The person you are today isn't the person you were 5 years ago, and that's a good thing. Life is going to throw you curveballs. It's going to push you in directions you didn't expect. And instead of resisting, you need to be flexible. Be willing to change course when it's necessary. Be open to new possibilities. But here's the real wisdom. It's not about where you're going. It's about how you get there. The universe is heading somewhere, that's true. But it's not just about the destination, it's about the journey. It's about the lessons you learn along the way, the experiences you have, the people you meet. And the same is true in your life. You're heading somewhere, whether you realize it or not. But the destination isn't the point. The point is how you live your life along the way. So, here's the ultimate question. Are you going to live your life fighting against the current, trying to control everything, holding on to things that are already slipping away? Or are you going to embrace the flow, trust the process, and evolve with the universe? Because whether you like it or not, you're moving. The only thing you can control is how you move. And that's the real secret to protecting yourself. It's not about avoiding change or trying to stay safe in your comfort zone. It's about learning to adapt, to evolve, to flow with the changes that are already happening. Because just like the galaxies, you're part of something bigger than yourself. And once you accept that, once you stop resisting and start moving with the flow, you'll realize that the universe isn't something to be feared, it's something to be embraced.